Are you looking to refine your sales team and increase your company's revenue? Leading your sales team is an ongoing improvement process. Join Harry Newhan from Eric Lofholm International as he interviews top sales managers in the world. Discover the best practices that rocket them and their teams towards success. Boost your recruitment, motivation, and training techniques, leading you to build a top-producing, synergetic sales team. Welcome to CSI for Sales Managers.
Hey everybody, Harry Newhan back here with continuous sales improvement for sales managers and their best practices. Thanks for joining us and tuning in today. We're excited to have a new guest with us, Chad Toms out of Michigan, actually, one of my neighboring cities here. He's from Reliance One Inc., and they're a placement staffing company, very large, been in business for, well, I'll let Chad tell the story. I think it's 20 plus years, but I'll let Chad tell the story. But exciting. I actually met Chad off of LinkedIn. Turns out he's, again, one of my neighboring cities here. I used to drive right by where he lives and where he works every single day in my past life a few years ago. But we got to become friends. He's invited me to an event, went there, and some of you might have seen on the social media that he got me into a race car, driving around a 1.5-mile track at 100 miles an hour. So that was an experience. I'll take that one off my bucket list. But I'm glad I invited Chad to come on here and share some of his exciting ideas. He's actually expanded now. He's actually managing managers. So he's at another level, and I'm sure he's got some great tips for us. So Chad, welcome to the show. Appreciate you coming on.
Well, thank you, Harry. I appreciate it. Yeah, it was great to meet you in person, which is totally unheard of here in 2021. I was actually able to shake your hand, and yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed that couple laps around the racetrack. M1 Pontiac, Michigan. Check it out. It's awesome.
It was exciting. Yeah, thank you. I didn't even know the place existed. So when you invited me there, I'm like, okay, what kind of place is this? And then when I got there, wow, it's amazing. So thank you again.
Not a problem. That's great.
Tell our audience. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I appreciate the introduction. That was very kind.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
No, my pleasure. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Chad, before we get into some of the questions.
Yeah, as I mentioned, we're Reliance One Incorporated. Been with the company for 19 years. It's an amazing story. Our founders started the company back in '98. They recruited me to come join them. My first office was a spare bedroom, if you can believe that. That was before work from home was even invented. I worked out of this house, and then eventually we grew and we hired some more people. We were in the basement. And then Jim, our founder, he got married, started a family. He's like, all right, we got to get all these crazy people out of my house every day. So we moved to our first office down in Clarkston. We were up in Davison at that point, and just haven't looked back. So 19 years later, we got national presence. We work with a lot of global national companies, everyone you can imagine here in the Detroit area. Some awesome relationships, and it's taken us just about everywhere in the continental U.S. It's been a lot of fun.
That's great. Gosh, what a story. Bedroom, basement, and then finally getting an office. That's, you know what? That kind of attitude and philosophy is what built America. I mean, so many inventions and major companies were started right in the kitchen or in the living room of people's houses. That's a great story. Thank you for sharing that. So let's go ahead and get.
Yeah, I look back. I was shocked I accepted the offer. Like, what am I getting myself into? And then I wouldn't change a thing. I'm such a great guy.
Yeah, well, that's called loyalty. I mean, if you can start with the company, seeing it, inviting what kind of business is this? You inviting me into your spare bedroom to do your business. That's called loyalty. So that says a lot about you. All right,
well, thank you.
Let's go into our first question here. What do you feel, Chad, has been or is the most important best practice in sales management itself?
Well, it's a great question, Harry. In this business, you tend to learn kind of through the fire. It's a tough business, especially you're dealing with people, so there's all these different types of personalities. I look back to probably my earliest moments as a sales manager, and I really cringe to think about it. I don't know if it's a word or not, but just smothery. I was all over our people. I wouldn't let them make probably even their own decisions, let alone make a mistake. And I can't imagine. I would love to have a conversation with some of those managers or sales account managers to this day. But I learned over time is just to really kind of trust and verify, get out of their way. at our company, we have so many success stories. We have so many great people. And I've learned just to kind of step back, let them do what they do best, be comfortable. And then they've just been so successful. Uh, our teams there's every walk of life, every type of personality. Obviously, you have certain traits to be in sales, but you have to manage them differently. Uh, the foundation in my sales management probably philosophy is I know that my boss, I report to our owner, our CEO. I know he truly cares about me, cares about my family, and he wants me to be successful. So yeah, we've had tough conversations, but more times than not, it's strategic conversations. So I've learned to manage our team in that same kind of the same philosophy, I guess.
That's a really good enlightenment. That trust factor and giving people room to spread their wings. That's a good lesson to learn because there are talented people out there, and if we do smother them, we actually smother the talent that we could otherwise embrace.
Yeah, absolutely. We've been in business for so long. We face just about every scenario that can happen. Good, bad, and the ugly. Um, so that's what I tell our account managers. You're not going to break anything. You're not going to face anything that we haven't faced before. So just get out there and just make it happen. It's fun. I really enjoy my roles. I'm not necessarily in that strategic management in the trenches as much as I used to be. Now I'm just that mentor that just pops in every now and again with a couple ideas and just let them do their thing. So it's been a just a great lot of fun.
That's all you meant. You mentioned good, bad, and ugly. Boy, this last 18 months, some of it's been pretty ugly, hasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It's perseverance and it's fortitude, all those big words. It hasn't been any more evident in the last 18 months. I couldn't be more proud of our people. Our sales, where we finished at 2019, we did one of these. We just clawed our way out. I want to say we're beyond where we were in probably that third to fourth quarter back in 2019. So we've grown. If you can imagine that,
That's
it's been
great.
a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's the story that we want to hear. That's the exciting part. People, companies, and people coming back and really taking charge. That's awesome. Way to go. So, what do you feel you'd like to share with us your best training idea?
You know, I did one today, and I hate to say, they can be cheesy, but they work. Is our role plays. And it's the funny we laugh about the role plays. They're never as bad as they are when you're going through all these different scenarios. It's easier to just jump on the phone and make it happen, but we still do it. And I look at, Tiger Woods has a coach, and he's going there and he's ripping swings and different types of, swings and this, that, and the other. It's like we all have a coach, and that's my role. Is I want to, not run through the ringer. I want to let them know it's easier to get out there and make the calls. Um, my kids, I have two kids. They both played, sports from t-ball all the way through high school, football, basketball, volleyball, all that good stuff. And there's so many times where they would come home and they would, oh my God, coach said this or coach said that. Like I've told you that 900 times. So it's like as much as we try to help everybody. We've even used outside coaches here, just to come in and just maybe change the perspective. It's all the same information. It's just how you present it. So it's that's just fun. But yeah, the role plays and just being hands on with it just really goes a long way.
That's interesting that you said that. Sometimes, you've been your managers. They tell their people the same thing 100 times, 200 times, 300 times, but then they hear it from somebody else. Third party validation. It's like they heard it for the
Exactly.
first time.
It's the best idea ever.
Exactly. It's one of the most frustrating. It can be one of the most frustrating things for managers that are being watched by other managers. Why didn't you tell them that? Well, I've told them 200 times, but we know that. I mean, we know that happens. Again, that third party validation is so important. I feel it's important and in some cases critical because your people will listen to somebody else at a different frequency than they're listening to you every single day.
For sure.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
So now you mentioned your people, the loyalty, and we talked about your loyalty. And I'm sure you've had, as you're growing, you're adding people. What would you like to share your best recruiting, interviewing, or hiring advice for other sales managers out there?
So trying to draw talent to your company, recruiting salespeople to your organization. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, exactly how we met, Harry, is, we connected online through LinkedIn. We met in person. I think the best thing you can do as a sales professional, if you're looking to grow your company, obviously you got to start and grow your personal brand. Is just get out of the office, go meet people, go to, I spend a lot of time at chamber events, at networking events, trade shows. Just generates referrals. And the beautiful thing is, I've got clients this way. I've added team members and new hires. It's people. I got your name from so and so. Can you help us out? Or hey, can you track down this person over here? They're looking for a job. I think you'd be a good resource for them. So I get people sending me information or sending me people all the time. I don't have to go out and try to seek it. So it's just been my biggest advice is get out of the office. Go meet some people.
No, that's good. Now, when you get this influx of referrals and you go out there and meet people, what do you look for in those people that you feel would attract to what traits are you looking for?
In our business, it's tough. It doesn't matter where you went to college or what your degree is in. It's your schooling. It's you as a person. So if you can have a conversation, it goes back to the handshake. It's like you just kind of know, and people have that it factor. I've hired so many people over the years. Some of our best people. I mean, if one of our top producers here in the company, we hired him. He came to us from a car wash. I've had our right now our top producer in sales. She worked in retail. It just doesn't matter. And we're a staffing business, so I don't. There's not many people that go to college to into the staffing industry. You just kind of end up there. We can take anybody if they've got that it factor, the people skills. If they're outgoing, they have a conversation. If they can take some criticism along the way, and they want to learn. I have no doubt we can whip them into shape. But this isn't for everybody. It's a tough job, as you know, sales. It's you're batting about if you're batting 200, you're getting the door slammed in your face 8 out of 10 times. You're probably going to be really successful because those two deals you're going to make happen. So it's just you got to learn to say no and have some thick skin. And if you have a lot of those factors and you don't take yourself too serious and just go have some fun, and you can do really well in this industry.
That's great. I like the analogy on the batting average. I used to teach my guys. I said, guess how much they pay those professional baseball players to strike out 7 out of 10 times.
Yeah. And you look at the difference between that 200 hitter and that 300 hitter. I mean, it's that one more hit and however many at bats. I'm not very good at math, but and that's all the difference in our business too. Is if you can learn to kind of increase your odds and win just one more deal out of every 10 or every 15, you're gonna be that much more successful. And the nice thing about our business, it's not transactional as much as one time. We have clients that we've done business with. I started with a company in 2002 that we're still working with today. Our largest clients, OEMs, the biggest companies in the world, we've done business with them since 2007, 2009. So that's the nice thing is like if somebody has those traits, and and how we hire and we verify and people and train them is we have our core values. So there's 4 factors. We looked at all of our top producers are great people, and we figured, okay, what makes them who they are? So our 4 core values that really defines our company, they have to be driven. They have to be a team player. They have to be humble, and they have to be fun. So if they check 3 out of 4, that's great. If you check 4 out of 4, you're pretty much a no-brainer hire, and there's a really good chance you're going to be tremendously successful with this company. If you're driven, you're passionate. If you're a team player, you can work well with others. If you're humble, you put yourself kind of secondary to the team, a service mentality. And if you're fun, you're gonna have a great career with our company.
That's great. That's one of my early mentors said, if you're not having fun, you're off track. It ain't worth doing. So you got to have fun. I like that. Good job. Okay. So now that you got your team together and you're in your daily, weekly routine, what do you feel has been your most successful motivation idea?
It's consistency. I talk about that service mentality is really kind of serving from the top down, not the other way.
Yeah.
So when you have that type of mindset, you're there to serve, you're there to help. Like I talked about earlier, you're getting out of the way and you let them learn how to fly. You push them out of the nest. I think that's really motivating. We get caught up in the minutia with the sales reports and the leads and all that kind of stuff. That can be very demotivating. And especially if you're young, professional trying to make a a name for yourself and you're constantly looking over your shoulder and worried about making mistakes. So, to me, like I said, my job now is I love kind of sharing the big picture. Sometimes it's good to offer some perspective as you're in the trenches. But at the end of the day, it's let them know you're not going to win every battle. You're going to have setbacks and failures, and there's going to be times where you're at the end of your rope. You're like, what did I get myself into? And just being there just to support. It goes back to, we just did a company picnic last month. We had all the families out there, the kids, and our team did an amazing job of just making it a fun day. And it's like, it's we make it about the family. We want, you got to have that balance. If our people are working 24/7, they're just not going to work. So that we want them to be present. If you're at home, if you're with your family, be home. You got to take a call, so be it. You got to do what you got to do to keep your business forward. And when you're here at work, be present, knock it out of the park. And that's something I learned early on. I go back to my relationship with our owner. I shared the story earlier with our newest account manager. I felt like I was trying to do everything when I first got into sales, and I would just go at a frenzy. And at the end of the day, I felt like I was getting stuff done, but wasn't able to close anything off my list. And I broke my day down. It's called we call it a flight time. From 9 to 10, I'm doing this. I'm calling my leads. From 10 to 11, I'm following up on the meetings I went on. From 11 to 12, I'm doing this. And it was very specific, and it just kind of kept me heading in the right direction every day. When I would shut my light off at the end of the night, I was able to knock off huge things off my list, and it was extremely motivating because I was obviously able to see a lot of success out of it.
So now you're teaching your team that.
Absolutely.
Great. So now
if you try to juggle everything or take it all at once, it's really, really tough to do all of the chunks.
That's awesome. So you got the right people, you motivating them. Now, having gone through this this organization that you teach them to motivate themselves throughout the day, what do you feel your best accountability strategy is to make sure make sure they're doing what they say they're going to do or that they can do? How do you hold the accountability there?
It's once again that trust and verify kind of scenario. I know enough just to be dangerous on what's going on in their world. It's their business. We're not a franchise. Everyone here is an internal employee, and we don't want people to just be in a silo where they're just on an island. They're all by themselves. But it's their business. It is your business to go out there and build rapport, build relationships. Figure it out, navigate through the sales cycle, and manage it. I can tell you there's a scenario, and if you ask me about even challenges that we had, there was a time where I managed an account as I was probably the owner of the company, and I screwed it up. We lost a large account because I didn't manage it as it was. I was you incorporated. It was me. Does that make sense? It was a very difficult lesson that I learned, trying to please everybody as opposed to just managing like I should have managed. So that's been my biggest accountability: is just go out there, make it happen. You're not going to break anything. We sit down with our account managers a few times a year. We'll go through everything. We'll look through their territories, opportunities, where we can be better, where we can serve them, but just let them come with solutions. So it's kind of I want to say it's an old school style, but I want to say it's a newer approach because there was tons of accountability back when I started in this business, and you constantly looking over your shoulder. You're scared to make a mistake. It's not a lot of fun.
So if I'm underperforming and I'm not hitting the numbers that I've set for myself or that I'm doing, do you track that? How long do you wait before you step in and offer some suggestions or advice? So maybe you could share that.
Absolutely. And we're a relatively small company. We're a mid-sized company. There's not a whole lot of layers. The two founders of the company are still here. I've been here for 19 years. Our two directors of sales have been here 14 and 15 years. We've got sales and account managers that have been here some 10 to 12. There's not a whole lot of room to hide per se. We're very, and we're all about, it's not all about the bottom line, but everybody knows where everyone's at. It's very visual. So if somebody's struggling, I mean, you kind of break down, okay, how many meetings you have, how many opportunities are you getting, how many quotes are you doing, all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of daily conversations, just as I've had those tough conversations myself when I was in their shoes. And that's the nice thing about our company is every single person has pretty much started in the same spot. So there was no, that where you just kind of plugged in and you're thrown immediately into a leadership role. You kind of had to earn it. So we've all been there. We've all struggled. We've all had the challenges. It's tough. And most of our business is automotive, and the difference between our business probably it was, 20 plus years ago. Now it's in a lot of cases we're more of a commodity than we ever were. As you're getting squeezed for price and margins and all that kind of stuff. So it's just a tough business. So yeah, there's probably we probably spend a lot more time with the people that are on the growth line or a little below than the people that are knocking out the park. I mean, that's just kind of the nature of the business.
Okay, no, that's great and awesome. Now you might have stepped into my next question because I was going to ask you. Nothing ever goes straight up, and it's not all roses and daisies. What do you feel has been a setback? And you mentioned that one company, that may be it. And if it is, maybe you could elaborate a little bit. But a setback that you had that jerked you sideways, and what you learned from it.
Oh, I can paint that picture. It seems like yesterday. It's probably a good at least 15 years ago. But so I had built a relationship with a extremely large technology company. They had relocated and kind of rebranded in the state. I had in a short amount of time, I built a relationship. I had really an exclusive relationship. I had our team working on site, so we're being a recruiting firm. We had our team working and helping with talent acquisition and all that kind of good stuff. So we'd really embedded our company, our culture into that organization. Well, I lost the account. It was a decision. It was one transaction that went sideways. It was very emotional, and I was the kind of the face of the organization. As a company, we made decisions as a group that at the time I could sense where it was going to go. Um, I let it happen, and I guess I was scared to speak up. I was scared to step on toes, and I should have just grabbed everybody we wore shirt and ties back then, grabbed everybody by the tie and said, hey, and I didn't, I just, maybe I didn't feel that ownership type mentality that I did now. It was maybe more of an employee mindset. And it cost our company, I don't know if it was millions in sales, but it was a lot. And it was a lesson that I learned. Um, I actually lost a relationship. I was our employee. We had a great relationship, and she moved on, and it was just a very emotional time. So I learned from it. Honestly, I mean, I don't know if I would necessarily change it. You can't change the past anyway. But it made us so much better as a company moving forward, and it made me a better manager and leader, and it really did let me know it's like, hey, I know, I don't have all the answers, but in my gut, I knew we should have handled it a certain way. So I don't know if that makes sense, but it was definitely it was a crazy time, and but we're looking back, I wouldn't change it.
I think the hidden message there, Chad, and you kind of glossed over it, but I felt it from your heart, is that when you want people to feel like it's their company and the decision is speak up. If you need to speak up, and it's your voice because you're the face of our organization, and that lesson that you learned there, that's a very valuable lesson because I think it pulled you in closer to the company. Obviously, you've been there for 19 years, so that's pretty awesome. So thank you for that. One last question, and then we'll open it up for any last ideas you might have. You mentioned earlier when we were talking about role plays that you bring in outside companies to teach and train your people. How often do you bring in that third party validation and those outside companies? And is it just for your frontline salespeople? Is it for your sales managers? Is it for your executive staff? Is it everybody? How do you work that?
We do it. I'd say at least the last 10 or 12 years. We've had probably 3 or 4 different trainers. Yeah, we include everyone from our sales team, out on the front lines, knocking down the doors. We include our leadership, our executive, our team, our ownership. We want everybody involved. We want kind of everyone to hear the message. What's kind of funny is it's once again we talk about, I'm telling my trying to teach my son how to knock down free throws or hit that curveball, and that coach tells him, this, that, and the other. So a lot of it's in sales. There's probably not a lot of new ideas. It's just how you present it and how you get it to stick. And if you're learning and it's just going one ear and out the other, it's not going to do you any good. So, yeah, we've had some great success with many sales coaches over the years. It gets everybody engaged and all fired up and kind of heading out there and using some of the tricks of the trade or whatever you want to call it. So it's definitely been a good thing. It's helped, you know, kind of take the pressure off of us for having to have all the answers, and it gives just a kind of a frontline resource for even our account managers to call and say, hey, I got a big meeting coming up on Tuesday. You talked about this in our last session. How would it, whatever? How should I do it? Help me put that email together. And so that's where it's worked for us.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. That's great. I'm a firm believer in having that, again, that third party validation, and continuing education, because like the last 18 months, companies needed to, if they hadn't already, they needed to learn how to do their business virtually. And if they took too long to make that adjustment or make that pivot, the overused word of pivot, they lost out on what they could have done. So the ones that spun it right away, or the ones that were already in that process, because a lot of companies have already gone mostly virtual, and this just swung the pendulum to everybody. So yeah, we don't count on things like that. They're surprises, but being up to date on technology, what's available, and communication, those are critical things. So thanks for sharing that.
Oh, not a problem. Yeah, when I was, just first starting out in this business in sales, I mean, we barely had email. It was a lot of, you're hammering the phones and you're literally getting out and knocking on doors. And, now you've got almost too many tools. You've got LinkedIn and you've got, the Zoom infos and Discover.org and just all these different tools that you have. I remember way back in the day, my sales manager, he walked in my office and he dropped the yellow pages in front of me. Here's your sales leads. Like, okay, so it's just a different time now. I mean,
It is a different time. I was surprised to find that Yellow Pages actually still exists. It's a
it doesn't.
multi-$100 million industry, and the
Yes.
physical Yellow Pages, which is amazing. I actually saw one yesterday for the first time in a decade. So it was
Yeah, I think if it comes, it goes right in the recycle bin at our house.
yeah,
It's kind of like
yeah.
a Kodak. But hey,
Everything you got is right here in your pocket, right? Or everything you need, I should say.
for sure.
So the last thing, I want to open it up to you. Do you have any additional thoughts that you'd like to share with our audience? Best practices for sales managers?
Yeah, it's like I said, be hands on and just build a rapport. It's everyone has different things going on in their life, and they're at different levels of their career. But if, at the end of the day, if you care about them, and if you, like I said, that scenario with the picnic, if you get to know the families, we actually we have a sales incentive here at Reliance One. It's our year end contest, and you can actually win a sales trip. And we market and we celebrate it. We have some of our top account managers are they're probably hitting close to double digits in the number of trips that they've gone on. For me personally, yeah, I see our account managers, our salespeople all the time. I make it about the family, and just I know when I was launching programs and accounts and this and that. I mean, I had a young family at the time. My wife was just involved as I was. It's I'm out there taking care of the business, and she was taking care of the kids. So I've never lost that mindset. So when we go on these trips, I really, I make a point to, I guess put some deposits in with all the spouses, just because it's a team effort. So I think that's my biggest advice is you're managing your team, get to know the spouse, get to know the family, and then they'll understand the why behind it. It's if they know that you're coming from the heart and you want the best for them as a family, it goes a long way.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much for sharing that. So we're going to sign off here, Chad. Thank you so much for being our guest on this special edition that we're putting out today. Chad Toms from Reliance One in Flint, out of Auburn Hills, Michigan, over there by Automotive Alley. That's the Miracle Mile area, isn't it?
Oh yeah, there's anyone and everyone in the auto industry, right? Just a couple doors down. We're 5 miles away from Stellantis, which is still kind of funny to say, FCA, Chrysler, Chrysler Group. But yeah, there's a lot of suppliers on here.
That
The only sad part is when we moved, the Palace was just down the street, so we could sneak down there for a basketball game or have some fun down there with those guys. But rest in peace, the Palace is gone.
Yep, it's gone. It's gone. We watched the implosion of that. So with that, we're going to sign off here today, everybody. Thank you so much for dialing into CSI for Sales Managers and Best Practices. You can actually hear our podcast if you go to our website, Continuous Sales Improvement for Teams.com. Continuous Sales Improvement for Teams.com. The audio will be there. The video will be on YouTube, and you'll be able to see our whole library of the videos there for all of our episodes. And we'll be here, for our next one next Tuesday. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you again, Chad. Have a great day. Bye-bye now. Thank you so much for listening. Be sure to subscribe to get notified of the latest episode. Also, to learn more about improving your sales team, visit continuoussalesimprovementforteams.com. See you in the next episode, and have a great day.